Not long ago, you'd find it tucked in your grandmother's pantry, folded into Sunday desserts, or dried and packed for road trips. It wasn't flashy. It didn't need to be. Because it did what food was supposed to do: nourish the body from the inside out. And then, we forgot it. We replaced it with convenience. With bright labels. With fast sugars that promised more and gave less. But quietly, silently, this little fruit waited. In the background. In old recipes. In our memories. And now? It's coming back. Because men across America, men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, are rediscovering something powerful. Not in a pill. Not in a powder. But in a fruit. One that helps restore stronger blood flow, clearer energy, more stable testosterone, and that steady, quiet confidence that says, I'm still here. I still feel like me. So what is this fruit? Why did we forget it? And how can it help you show up stronger, clearer, and more connected every day? That's exactly what I'll share in this video. By the end, you'll know how to use this simple fruit not as a snack, but as a tool. To rebuild what time may have dulled and to remind your body of the strength it still holds. Let me ask you something, friend. When you wake up in the morning, do you feel ready? Not just awake. Not just moving. But ready in your chest, in your limbs, in your mind. Or has it become normal to start the day already tired? To push through stiffness in your hands or heaviness in your legs. To reach for coffee, and still feel like you're walking through fog. Maybe you used to wake up with clarity. With purpose. With that quiet fire in your belly that told you, let's go, but now, that fire flickers. Some days it doesn't show up at all. Your grip feels weaker. Your muscles take longer to respond. You forget small things, not names or facts, but why you walked into the room. And worst of all, you've started to wonder if this is just how it goes after 60. Maybe the spark of manhood, the one that once surged through you every morning, has faded into something quieter. So quiet, in fact, that you've stopped expecting it. You're not alone. I hear this every week. Doc, I just don't feel like myself anymore. I'm here, but I'm not really here. And here's what I always say, it's not your age. It's not weakness. It's not just the way it is. What you're feeling is the result of something deeper. Your blood isn't moving the way it used to. And without blood flow, no message gets through. Not to your brain. Not to your heart. And not to the parts of you that used to speak without effort. But here's the part no one told you, your strength isn't gone. It's just waiting for the right signal. And that signal might just come from something you used to eat, before you forgot how powerful it really was. My name is Dr. Catherine Rocker. And I've spent more than 30 years walking beside men just like you who once felt strong, and now feel forgotten. Not by their families. Not by society. But by their own bodies. They sit across from me, builders, veterans, musicians, teachers, and they say quietly, I'm slowing down, Doc. Something feels missing. I just want to feel like myself again, and every time, I listen. Because behind those words, I hear something deeper, not the fear of aging, but the fear of disappearing. I don't treat symptoms. I don't hand out pills and call it care. What I do is help men reconnect with their biology. With what's still working, still speaking, still alive inside them. Because your body isn't broken. It's not failing you. It's simply asking you to remember how to feed it like a man again. With rhythm. With wisdom. With real food, not products, not fads. And yes, sometimes, that starts with a fruit that's been here all along. A fruit your grandfather probably ate without needing a lecture. A fruit designed by nature to support circulation, hormone balance, and cellular energy, exactly what you're missing, without even knowing it. That's what I'm here to show you. Not a miracle. Not a secret. Just a way back. Let's keep going. Let's talk about what's really going on, not just on the outside, but inside your body. Because strength isn't just about muscle. It's about flow. Blood flow. Oxygen flow. Hormone flow. Signal flow between your brain, your heart, your gut, and yes, the parts of you that make you feel like a man. And here's what happens after 60. Your testosterone doesn't just drop. It loses momentum. Not because your body stops making it, but because the highways that deliver it start to narrow. Your blood vessels, the ones that feed your muscles, your brain, your reproductive organs, become less flexible. They don't open as easily. They stop listening to the signals that used to say, it's time to rise. It's time to move. It's time to respond. Why? Because your nitric oxide levels, the tiny messenger molecules that tell your arteries to relax and expand, have dropped by nearly half since you were 30. And with less nitric oxide, your muscles get less oxygen, your brain fogs over by 10 a.m. Your morning response doesn't show up, your strength becomes something you remember, instead of something you feel. Worse yet, your dopamine, the neurochemical that gives you motivation and desire, also drops. Not because you're lazy, but because your cells are tired, undernourished, and disconnected. Your body isn't quitting on you. It's just not getting the raw materials it needs to activate what's already there. That's where food comes in. Not just calories, but compounds, specific ones found in certain fruits, herbs, and minerals, that restore blood flow, revive nitric oxide, support hormone balance, and reignite the signals of strength. And there's one fruit, humble, sweet, almost forgotten, that holds many of these compounds in one bite. Men across America are bringing it back. Quietly. Daily. And they're noticing something stir again. In their walk. In their grip. In the way they look at their wives. In the way they look at themselves. And that fruit? Let me introduce it to you next. Let me tell you about Earl. He's 74. Lives in a small town outside Columbus, Ohio. Retired steelworker. Big hands, quiet voice. Still drives his '92 truck like it's brand new. When Earl first came to see me, he didn't want to talk about energy or testosterone. He just said, "Doc, I don't feel like I can push anymore. Not in the yard. Not in the bedroom. Not in my own skin." He wasn't depressed. He wasn't weak. But something inside him had gone silent. He told me he used to wake up strong. Built his house from scratch in his 40s. Used to split logs before breakfast. Used to feel that quiet pressure in his body every morning, the one that reminded him, "You're alive. You're ready, now?" He said mornings felt hollow. Soft. Empty. So I didn't give him a hormone patch. I didn't write a prescription. I asked him what he ate. And he laughed. Whatever's around. A piece of toast. Coffee, sometimes nothing. So I gave him one thing. Not a pill. Not a protocol. A fruit. Figs. 2 dried figs every morning. 1 fresh fig in the afternoon, if he could find it. Why figs? Because they're one of nature's forgotten power foods for men. Rich in boron, a trace mineral proven to support free testosterone, magnesium plus potassium for smooth blood flow, soluble fiber to stabilize blood sugar and nourish gut hormones, natural plant polyphenols that activate nitric oxide and relax blood vessels, and a hint of natural sweetness that satisfies without the crash. I told Earl, don't just eat them. Use them. Like a tool. Like a signal. He looked at me like I was half crazy. But he tried it anyway. 2 weeks later, he called me, "Doc, I'm not sprinting marathons, but I'm splitting wood again." And let's just say, my wife noticed something else that's back too. He laughed. Not loudly. Just that quiet kind of laugh that comes when a man recognizes himself again. It wasn't just the figs. It was the message he sent to his body, "I'm ready to feed you like you still work, and his body responded. Because it always does, when we remember how to listen. So why figs? Why would something so small, so simple, hold such power for men over 60? Because nature is smarter than marketing. And figs were never meant to be impressive. They were meant to be effective. Let's look at what they're quietly doing inside your body. First, boron. Figs are one of the richest fruits in this trace mineral. And boron plays a hidden but crucial role. It helps convert total testosterone into free testosterone, the kind your body can actually use. Without enough boron? Testosterone floats around, but doesn't land. With boron? It activates. It speaks. It works. Second, fiber and gut health. Figs contain soluble fiber that feeds your gut bacteria. Why does that matter? Because your gut isn't just for digestion. It produces neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, the very chemicals that give you motivation, drive, desire. And when your gut is well fed, your brain wakes up. Your body responds. And you feel like yourself again. Third, polyphenols and blood flow. Figs are rich in natural plant compounds that stimulate nitric oxide production. That's the molecule that tells your blood vessels, open up, let's circulate, and when circulation returns, so does clarity. So does morning presence. So does the confidence you thought was gone. Fourth, magnesium and potassium. These minerals work together to relax blood vessels, regulate heartbeat, and calm the nervous system. Figs bring them in naturally, without forcing, without side effects. This is why Earl didn't just feel more energy. He felt balanced, steady, centered. Because figs didn't push him. They restored him. It's not about eating figs because they're trendy. It's about remembering what real food was always meant to do: support you, feed you, bring you back to yourself. Sometimes the answers are still sitting on the shelf. We just forgot to look. Now, before you run out to buy figs, let's pause. Because even something this natural, this powerful, can lose its magic if used the wrong way. I've seen it too often. Men try to change. They mean well. But they fall into traps that rob the food of its power. Let me walk you through a few of them, not to scare you, but to protect your effort. Crossmark mistake number 1. Eating dried figs packed in sugar syrup. You grab a bag at the store. The label says, dried figs, but the ingredients list? Corn syrup, glucose, artificial preservatives. Those are not the figs we're talking about. Real dried figs should have one ingredient: figs. If they're soft, sticky, and overly sweet, they're candy in disguise. And they spike your blood sugar just like a donut. Crossmark mistake number 2. Eating figs alone on an empty stomach. Yes, figs are powerful. But eaten alone, especially first thing, they can trigger a blood sugar spike, followed by a crash. That's when men say, I tried figs, but I felt tired and foggy after. The solution? Pair them. Combine 2 dried figs with a small handful of walnuts, a spoon of nut butter, or even half a boiled egg. This slows absorption, balances insulin, and keeps energy steady. Crossmark mistake number 3. Not chewing properly. Figs are chewy for a reason. Their fiber and seeds activate digestion, but only if you chew slowly. Swallowing them quickly skips the signals that tell your gut to wake up. So take your time. Let your body receive what nature packed into every bite. Crossmark mistake number 4. Using figs as dessert after a heavy dinner. It sounds healthy. I'll have some figs after dinner instead of ice cream. But if your meal was heavy, late, or rich in fat, your gut may not absorb the nutrients from figs efficiently. Use figs earlier. Morning or early afternoon is best when digestion is more active. These aren't big mistakes. But they're the difference between eating something and being changed by it. You don't need more. You just need to use it right. And now that you know how, you're no longer guessing. You're restoring with wisdom. That's how healing begins. So how do you actually do this? How do you bring something as simple as a fig back into your life in a way that matters? It's not about making big promises. It's not about fixing everything overnight. It's about creating one small rhythm, one signal that tells your body every day, I remember you still work, start here. Tonight, before bed, place 2 dried figs in a small bowl. Pour warm water over them. Let them sit overnight on your kitchen counter. That's it. In the morning, when the house is still quiet, before coffee, before screens, drink the water slowly. Then eat the figs. Chew them fully. Let them remind your stomach that this day begins with nourishment. If you have time later in the day, maybe after lunch or mid-afternoon, eat 1 fresh fig, if you can find it. If not, stick with the 2 in the morning. Want to take it further? Pair those figs with a few raw walnuts. That's boron plus arginine, testosterone plus nitric oxide in one ancient, elegant combination. Try it for 7 days. Not to test it, but to listen. Listen to your focus. To your legs. To the quiet strength in your chest that doesn't come from caffeine or force but from flow. That's what this is really about. You're not just eating a fruit. You're choosing to feed the man you still are. And that's what makes all the difference. You haven't lost your strength. It's not buried somewhere in your past. It's not something you left behind in your 30s or 40s. It's still here waiting. Not for permission. Not for a miracle. Just for a moment of care. A steady rhythm. A reason to rise. You see, real strength doesn't make noise. It doesn't show off. It doesn't come in big moves or loud victories. It comes in small things. Like what you eat first. How you breathe before the world wakes. And whether or not you remember that your body is still listening. Every time you choose to feed it well, to support what's been there all along, you're not just surviving. You're rebuilding. Not from scratch. But from within. So if something inside you has been asking quietly, will I ever feel like myself again? Let this be your answer, yes. You will. Because you still can. And maybe, it starts with something as small as a fig. If something in this message touched you, if a part of you said, that's me, then maybe it's time. Time to try. Time to listen. Time to stop waiting for strength to come back, and start giving it a way in. You don't need to do it loudly. You don't need to announce anything. Just start. Try the figs tomorrow. Not for the fiber. Not for the science. But for the quiet promise you're making to yourself, I'm still here. And I still matter. If you do try it and you feel even the smallest shift, leave a comment that simply says, I'm listening again, that's it. And if there's a man you care about, a brother, a friend, a father, someone who's been fading more than he lets on, share this with him. He deserves to know he's not alone. That his strength isn't gone. That it can still return gently, daily, fully. We are not building a trend. We're building a quiet community. One that knows, you don't have to fight your body. You just have to feed it what it remembers. And when you do, the man you thought you lost comes back. Welcome home.